Hey y'all, welcome back to Esther Alexis, Body of an Extrovert. This episode is coming to you a bit late because, as life would have it, you make plans and God laughs. Unfortunately, our guests could not make it for today's podcast, and I really considered not putting anything out at all. However, I've made a commitment to you guys and to myself to at least release content that I hope will be insightful in some way, shape, or form. And as I am getting ready to embark on a month of travel for the month of May, I thought I would share with you my most powerful triple threat tips for travel. So this episode is going to be brief, but it's going to be full of insightful tips that I hope that you guys can apply to your travel lives. Without further ado, here's the episode. Hey y'all, welcome back to Esther Alexis, Body of an Extrovert. If you are new here, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe from whatever platform you're tuning into in order to be one of the first to know when our content drops. This way, if you're feeding for an episode, a quick travel tip, or a quick financial literacy class, you have it at your fingertips. So today's episode is going to be really brief. I don't even know if I would call it an episode, but this month I'm going to be traveling all over the US. I am on a flight just about every single week, and everyone who knows about my upcoming schedule is flabbergasted. They don't know how I'm doing it. And I don't believe in having secrets about this stuff anyway. So I thought I would share my triple threat tips for traveling. So here we go, since literally no one and everyone acts at the same time. So the first tip that I have for you when traveling is to have a dedicated travel credit card. I know that when I say that, everyone freaks out a little bit. They think, do I have to go open a brand new credit card? You know, how much is this gonna cost me, etc. As you guys know, I'm not gonna offer advice to you that I have not taken myself. I have multiple travel dedicated credit cards because these credit cards do more than just, grant you perks like a free coffee before you get to the airport or something. They actually offer a lot of insurance benefits. If you're someone who travels often or someone who travels at all, it is very, very easy to be one of the people whose luggages get lost, whose trip gets canceled out of nowhere. You go to the airport, there's a storm, there's something freakish happening, and for some reason your trip is interrupted, delayed, or canceled altogether. These credit cards really grant you a lot of peace of mind from those incidences. So a lot of them do trip cancellation, delay, or cancellation coverage, where once or twice a year, they'll give you a grace, right? So if it happens multiple times, well, you might just be out of luck. But once or twice a year, these credit cards give you the opportunity to be like, for some reason, whether it be like I got COVID, I got sick, I had to attend a funeral, something along those lines, they will come in and reimburse the entire cost of your trip, from the flight to the hotel to everything in between. And it really, really saves a lot of time, money, and hassle. Another thing is that you're allowed to accrue points really, really easily on some of these cards. Most of these travel credit cards have awesome intro offers. So if you don't know what that is, it means essentially that when you sign on to the card, they give you maybe 20,000, 40,000, 60,000 points for simply joining them. And if you know how hard it is to accrue points in a travel credit card system, these intro offers really do make a difference. A lot of the times they're what allow you to travel on a discount or with perks for the next 1 to 2 years usually. And you can usually accrue these points with everyday purchases like groceries, gas, restaurants, streaming services. It's really easy to accrue points with these. So, instead of having a credit card or a debit card that really doesn't do anything for you, some of these travel credit cards allow your money that you're already going to be spending to be working for you double time. Not only are they covering the cost that you're spending, but because you're purchasing a meal at a restaurant, which you were going to do for your friend's birthday anyway, they also add points to your travel bank. That's how I like to call it. And then you get to cash them in later down the line, again, for flights, for luggage, for, lounge access, depending on what credit cards you have. So again, my first tip is to have a dedicated travel credit card. Off the top of my head, if you're not someone who travels often, then maybe having a credit card with a $0 introductory fee is better for you. So I know a lot of these travel credit cards come with really heavy fees, but not all of them do. So off the top of my head, I know that Wells Fargo, I think it's Wells Fargo Autograph, has a $0 annual fee, and they have some pretty great perks. If you're into cash back, if you know that you're not big on the point system, Discover Travel, I think it's Travel with Discover or Miles with Discover, also has a $0 annual fee, and they do cash back as instead to points. People sometimes prefer that. So those are two cards that you can look into. For those of you who are into luxury travel or travel more often, we'll have an episode on the side for that. But if you're really, really curious off the top of my head, I would recommend looking into the Chase family. They have really great credit cards, Capital One family, and the American Express family. Again, we'll have an episode dedicated later that'll kind of go into the fine points of what credit card might be best for you as someone who is either, not a frequent traveler, all the way up to I travel for a living. So we'll be sure to cover all of your bases there. My second travel tip to you is get TSA PreCheck or global entry. Now, before you throw up your hands and you're like, nope, I don't need all of that, it's not that deep, I get to the airport on time, that is great. It's not for everyone. These are just my travel tips that work for me. If you know me, I don't think I've ever been on time a day in my life. Ask my mother. I was born late, and I have just been late ever since. It's just not gonna work for me. So if you're anything like me, and especially if you travel in groups, you can't always control, who's showing up on time, what's happening, and more specifically, you can't control what's happening at the airport. My last trip, I missed the flight entirely simply because TSA was having issues with their equipment and they held back the whole line. Instead of communicating that to the airlines, just hundreds of people lost their flights. And yes, we were rebooked for the next day, but if you have, an itinerary that demands that you are there on time, which I usually do, it was really, really irksome. So because you can't control what's happening at security, you don't know what cuckoo bird's gonna be in front or behind you that causes, a delay in TSA. Having things like TSA PreCheck, where you're in an entirely separate line, where you don't necessarily have to take off your shoes and all the shebangs, it's just nice to have. It is a process though. You do have to apply, and there is a fee. I believe if you're doing TSA PreCheck, it costs roughly $75. However, if you do global entry, which also includes TSA PreCheck, it's $100. And let's be honest, most of us are spending $100 within a month on DoorDash, Uber Eats, fast food pickups, lunch, dinners, brunches with our friends. So dedicate $100, just one simple month to getting TSA PreCheck or global entry. The application can be done within 20 minutes. You submit it and then you go and get an interview. And it saves so much time. This can usually save you anywhere between 10 minutes to an hour. If you've ever been in a long global entry line when you're coming back from a trip abroad, depending on where you're coming from, you could be in line for well over an hour. That's really what encouraged me to get global entry, is that I sat in a line for over an hour once. And for me, as someone who is always running out of time, it makes a huge difference. My last tip to you guys would be travel with intention. And what do I mean by that? Have an itinerary. I am an itinerary guru. I don't know how many of you are responsible for planning all the trips. That is me. I've never been on a trip that I have not planned from alpha to omega, from beginning to end, because I need to know what's going to be happening within that week. And I say that because when you know what's happening within the week, you know how to pack, you know what to expect, you know how many dinners there's going to be, how many opportunities for beaches or restaurants or whatever is going to come across on the trip. And so that allows me to pack with intention. And then when I pack with intention, it means that I can usually avoid fees, like, you know, being overweight with your luggage. It also means that I don't have to necessarily buy luggage if I don't have to. I'm a big believer that if you travel with intention, you usually don't have to pay for, you know, extra fees. What do I mean by that? Like, for example, I think that if you have a relatively good size, like duffel bag or weekender bag, you really don't need luggage if you know what you're going to be doing every single day. So what are my default travel bags? First and foremost, I have a dedicated weekender bag. It's the base bag. It was a gift from my dear friend Lola. You guys have met Lola. She's dad near my soul sister at this point on every platform. So I have a dedicated weekender bag. It has a shoe compartment. This compartment can also hold my toiletries bag. You guys already know that when it comes to airport travel, that your toiletries do have to be a specific size. I have a toiletries bag dedicated with little bottles of everything that I use on my day-to-day basis. This bag also opens up, has a laptop sleeve, zip up pocket here, pockets for your keys, your wallets, your passports, etc. And it's actually pretty massive on the inside. So this is one of my go-to bags right here. So if I'm spending anywhere between maybe 3 to 5 days somewhere, and I know that, you know, I can reuse certain parts of outfits in order to mix and match, this is the bag that I am bringing. This way I don't have to buy checked luggage, and it saves me typically $60 to $120 per trip. And trust me, that adds up. Then you also have your personal items. If you're not going to be carrying luggage, your personal items actually get a lot more leeway than you think. I never bring a tiny little backpack because I usually need a lot of stuff. And so whatever doesn't fit in my weekender bag, I usually have this bag right here or a tote bag as my personal item. Again, pretty massive bag. Like I could fit 2 or 3 outfits in here, a pair of shoes, some snacks, definitely my passport, my weight scale, all of the things that I need to access, my headphones in here, my laptop if I wanted to, which frees up space in my weekender bag. So I usually pair a tote with my duffel or my weekender bag, and just like that, I tend to have everything I need. Last and certainly not least, my cheat, my airport hack, because I mean, let's just be honest, everyone has a cheat. So my cheat, when those 2 bags are not enough for flights where I take and I don't have luggage, I also have my fanny pack. I have had this fanny pack for years. I put it on around me like an accessory. I don't usually strap it across my chest, though you could. I usually put it like in the belt loops of my jeans or my pants or whatever. I've never once been asked about it. They don't ask if it's a personal item. They don't ask if it's, you know, a part of my, you know, regulated bags. And you'd be surprised how much you could fit in the average fanny pack. It has a cup holder, it has a pocket in the front, a pocket on top here, and then the main pocket here. And then it also has mesh pockets on the inside. So if you're carrying maybe your cards, your passport, etc., and you don't want them to go in these bags here, everything can usually fit in here. If you're like me, I have like my Google Pixel Buds, or if you're gonna have your Apple AirPods, whatever it is, or your over-ear headphones, it'll all fit in here. So will your wallet, so will your passport, so will everything else. So you don't even really have to pay for luggage. So if you're not gonna get a travel credit card that covers your luggage fees, having bags that really allow you to pack a suitcase amount of stuff, these are them. These are your cheats. So I know today's episode, if you'll call it that, was really fast. However, I thought I would just share with you guys my top 3 tips for travel, things that have worked for me, saved me a whole bunch of money, a whole bunch of time, and have really just saved my peace when it comes to traveling. And I hope that it really does the same for you guys. So let me know what tips and tricks you guys are using when you're traveling to save money, to save time. And we'll talk again next time. Be sure to share your thoughts below. See you next time. Bye.